Hello and welcome to the C++ programming language course. In the first episode, we will just go through an introduction to programming itself. So we will not be going into any detail about C++ constructs. This will be in the later episodes. So initially, first step, I wish to go through the development life cycle. So a typical developer uses some editor, some IDE standing for integrated development environment, and there are a variety of these available. For example, for Android, there is the Android Studio. For iOS, Xcode, and for general programming, there is different varieties of Eclipse or Visual Studio. So using any of those, they will edit their code. So once you input the code and you bring it to some kind of a completion level, you want to compile it, and the environment comes with the compiler. And when the code is compiled, it checks for its syntax, and then it compiles it into object code. The object code is in the form of files usually, and for each source file that you have compiled, you will get a equivalent object file. Next step is to link all these files, and the linker is what does it. It links all the files as the name suggests. It also links any libraries you wish to include. You want to use functionalities of any libraries. This is where it gets linked. And as a result, you get the executable, which is your output. And this is a binary you can distribute or install somewhere. So for apps, it'll be an Android app, an APK file, whereas iOS app has its own apps, and then it could be any other executable or library that you output. And this is what gets distributed and installed. I also wish to go through the flow chart, the flow diagram of the programming. So typically, when you start with coding, and you as the next stage you compile, so it just goes straight into compilation. And after that, there could be compilation errors. If there are, then you need to go back and fix those errors, then compile it again, and then um, you know you go through this process until you don't have any compilation errors. After that, the linker links the object files and libraries, as we discussed in the previous slide. After the linking, there could be again linking errors, and you can fix them and then come back. And so this whole process about compilation and linking is integrated into the environment you use, and you will not have to separately compile and link. It will just the when you start compiling, the environment will first compile and then link for you. But as far as explanation is concerned, compilation is a separate process, and then linking is a separate process. Once you don't have any linking errors, then you end up with the executable you were hoping to create. That executable then you might find any runtime errors yourself during testing, and if that's the case, you'll go back and fix them. And as you come down this flow, the errors get more and more difficult to fix. Compile time errors are usually the most easiest to fix because they are in your own code. They are very visible. The compiler shows a decent error message, uh, and and even before that, any syntax errors when you type, if you made a mistake, those are most easiest because they will be highlighted as you type. um, Link time errors, bit more complex. Some library has incompatibility, you're not calling the correct API, something like that is more difficult to fix. Further down, if there are any runtime errors, they are even more complex to fix. Usually you don't get much of a error, um because it's a release version of the executable. Usually the users are using you release release version which is designed for performance, and it doesn't have any debug related code in it, so you don't get reported those errors. um, this is more difficult to fix, but there are, you know, logging and other facilities you can use to um, find out what the error is. um, Once you've gone through that process, you're happy with it, you release it in the market, and it stays there, it's running until you receive any errors from the users or something, which is again the same process. You go down, fix it, release another version, and it remains in that state until you wish to replace it with another app or add some feature, in which case you will come back, edit, add that feature, or create a new app and go through this process to release another uh, program into the market. That's it for this course, this episode of the course. In the next episode, we will be looking at starting to look at the C programming language constructs, create a simple program, execute it, and then eventually we'll end up going into C++ to talk about object orientation and its related concepts. So until the next time, uh, bye bye for me, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.